Hey, Coug Nation. Thanks for tuning in to our admitted student presentation. My name is Chris Arteaga, and I am a recruitment specialist with the University of Houston. Today, we're going to be talking about some of those next steps that students have questions about. And I have two of our student ambassadors with us today who will also be assisting in the presentation. And I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves at this time.
Cool. Hey, y'all. My name is Prerna Atreya. I serve as the Director of Prospective Student Outreach. I am a current student here at the University of Houston, so I'm studying psychology with a minor in creative writing and medicine and society. I'm part of the Honors College. I'm actually graduating in 2 weeks, so I'm a proud member of the class of 2020. Go Cougs.
And howdy, y'all. My name is David Mikhailov. I'm actually about to be a former student because I'm graduating in May of this year. I'm an accounting major, go Cougs.
Awesome. So we're going to start off with a quick video, and then we'll tune back in with you guys in just a moment.
Let's write a story. One where you're the hero. One where you change the world. One research project. One business idea. One blueprint at a time. A story that starts with the University of Houston. Because we're a university of change, and we're evolving every single day. We're history in the making, sculpting the future of tomorrow, one student at a time. We're forever forward, bursting with inspiration and brimming with possibility. Right in the heart of the city that sent a man to the moon. That's home to the world's largest medical center. The place that showed the world that even in the toughest of times, we are unbreakable, unstoppable, and undeniably better than ever. But this isn't just our story. It's yours, and hers, and his. Because here at the University of Houston, we're still writing our legacy, and we've been waiting for you. Will you join us?
Okay, so hopefully that video got you hyped for the upcoming fall. So when we talk about the actual university itself, you can't talk about the University of Houston without speaking to the city, right? I like to say that the University of Houston kind of mirrors the city when you're talking about all the different opportunities that are available. So when you're looking at the University of Houston, we're not just one of those college towns. We have the largest medical center in the world, which is about 10 minutes away from our main campus. If you go 10 minutes in the opposite direction, you hit the downtown area, which is home to 24 Fortune 500 companies that are going to be headquartered within the city. We're also in the fourth largest city in the US, right? So when you're looking for those job opportunities, internships, research, there's going to be a lot of opportunities that some of those smaller college town environments won't be able to provide for our students.
And of course, this is very important for students as well. Take example for me. One of the main reasons why you should look into a university is to graduate with a job. So going to the University of Houston, being in the city of Houston is very important. Just like yesterday for me, I just got an offer to work for a company. So coming to the University of Houston is a very good boon for you to start off your career after graduating the University of Houston. So definitely is something to keep in mind when thinking about the University of Houston.
Also, when you're talking about the city, there's no way you can talk about not have the opportunity to talk about the entertainment that the city has to offer as well. So from various museum and theater district options to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, I know I'm a big sports fan, and since I've been in the city, it's been a great opportunity because I've been able to see the city host a Super Bowl, a men's Final Four NCAA tournament, as well as a World Series, right? So all within a couple years time frame, we've been able to see some major sporting events, which is really awesome because it provides a lot of different entertainment for everyone within the city.
Yeah, and kind of to go off of that, I like to talk a lot about our own sports, like our basketball team. This would have been what the second time in the past, few years where we're going to the March Madness. Even though this year we didn't really get to complete that, because of certain unexpected circumstances, of course. But livestock show and rodeo, very big. I absolutely love going to that every year. You have the entire rodeo outside. You can get some food, some fried Oreos. It's a really great time. Museum district, student discount. It's very awesome. One thing that I do love to mention is that as a student of the University of Houston, you do get to go to the Houston Zoo for free with your student ID. Main reasons because our mascots is held on that in the Houston Zoo, so you can definitely check them out. It's really awesome. The food, of course, Houston, fourth largest city. I'm myself particularly, I love that shawarma, that Mediterranean food. So you can find all of your all your food needs in Houston. So definitely something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, definitely. Also a foodie as well. So a lot of those food options, we like to alternate, me and my wife, in those different food options. So we'll definitely take different opportunities to kind of choose our favorite throughout the weekends, right? So the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about the university itself. So when you're looking at the University of Houston, a lot of students aren't aware of how large the University of Houston is. We are the third largest university in the state of Texas, with about 46,000 plus students strong. We are also considered a Tier 1 research university. For those of you who are not familiar with that is, the Carnegie Foundation essentially ranks all schools across the nation on a variety of different factors. Primarily, research has kind of provided the university with an opportunity to be considered a Tier 1 research university. And I'll let Prerna discuss a little bit more about what that means from the student perspective there.
Yeah, so one thing that I love stressing to students is that research is not STEM oriented only. So oftentimes when you think about research, you think about being in a lab, typing up numbers, doing some like chemical equations and all of that. And like, it's very much centered around our STEM students, but that's not the case at all. In fact, at the University of Houston, we have an entire undergraduate research center. So coming in, it's really, really great for students to be involved in research just because it means that you get a lot of opportunities just to like grow and expand your skills. It becomes very transferable. You can like be involved in so many different projects and labs all across campus. But I think one of my favorite things is that the research is expanded to all majors. So you can be coming in as an English major and you can be doing your senior honors thesis research project, whether it be like writing books or writing poetry. It's very much involved. That's what I did for 2 years. That's how I did my research. But then the past year, I got an opportunity to work at Baylor, so I've been conducting research with them. So there's just so many different skills that you can be taking at the University of Houston, and it's great because it's really rare for undergraduates to be getting that opportunity as early as their freshman year. So it's something that I definitely recommend all students to take advantage of because research oftentimes surprises you, and it's super interesting, even if you don't think it's something that you might be interested in to start out with.
So we're also going to be talking about here a little bit of some of the academic colleges. Well, all the academic colleges throughout the university, so there are 16 of them that are represented throughout the University of Houston. We offer 120 plus undergraduate majors, so there's a lot of different options to choose from. Some of our top programs at the university are going to be the C.T. Bauer College of Business. We get a lot of really great students that come to the university and take part in that particular program. Our entrepreneurship program for Bauer has actually recently been listed as the #1 entrepreneurship program in the country, which is really awesome, really great achievement there with the C.T. Bauer College of Business. As you go to visit our campus, or if you've never been to our campus and you're eventually going to visit, the Conrad Hilton College of Hotel Restaurant Management actually has a Hilton Hotel in the center of our campus, which provides classrooms for our students. So not only does it have that classroom opportunity, but it gives students those opportunity to kind of be a part of the Hilton family and actually work. So getting that real world experience as well as being in a classroom environment. Some of our other top programs, the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics is a really great program as well. A lot of different opportunities for students to go into some of those big STEM fields. And then we also offer the Honors College. Once I'm done here talking a little bit more, I'll let Prerna discuss a little bit more of what the Honors College has to offer some of our students. But before that, we also have that 21-to-1 student to faculty ratio, which is going to be great for our students as well. When you look at the size of the university, having 46,000 plus students, it's awesome to see that we still have that 21-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And then we have 5 professional schools. So if you're going into law and you want to study law, we do have that law center on our main campus. This upcoming fall, we're excited to open up the College of Medicine. So it's going to be a new program that we're going to be offering at the University of Houston as well. Then we've got that optometry, pharmacy, and nursing program tracks as well. So again, I'll circle back around and get back to the Honors College, and I'll let Prerna discuss a little bit about her experience there with that college.
Yeah, so I think one of my favorite things about the Honors College is that it is interdisciplinary. So that means that you can be a part of any major to be a part of the Honors College. And it comes with a lot of really great perks. I like to think of honors curriculum as like the AP of high school. So that just being said, it just means that like it's a little bit more rigorous, but what I really like about it is that you're not taking all your classes honors. It's just the classes that relate to your major / you're really interested in about. So with that being said, honors is a great way for you to get those smaller student to faculty ratio, because all of our classes are about like 25 students, maximum 30. So it's a great way for you to build connections with your professors, get to know them. They'll get to know you, meaning that they're really great at connecting you with resources in like the outside world, being like, there's these labs, there's these internships that are going on. Here's some jobs that might be popping up, fellowships, all of that. So it's really great. Another thing that the Honors College does is a really great way for you to just participate in research as well. So if you are interested in research and you know that's a career field that you are like planning on going into, I highly recommend the Honors College because they do a lot of summer research fellowships for our students as well. So I like to encourage all students joining the Honors College. It's super fun and it's really great. And it's also like a really great track plan for you to just like build those connections and find a smaller home within this large community that is UH. So definitely recommend checking out the Honors College.
Yeah, and you know, I'm part of the CT Bauer College of Business, and like Chris mentioned earlier, we do have that Wolf Center for our entrepreneurship that is ranked so highly in their field. So definitely something really cool to look into. We also have another program called PES, Professional in Excellence in Selling. Yes, and it's a very great program for a lot of the business students. We've had a few ambassadors in our program that were also a part of the PES program. So definitely something really cool to look into. They do nothing but help you, you know, graduate with a job. Which again, I'm going to keep on mentioning that because that's a very important thing. That's one thing you come to the university for, is to graduate with that job. And at the University of Houston, we really try to help that, especially in business. You know, we try to we do our best with that. And with that said, you know, we do have as you get into your major, like he mentioned, like Chris mentioned earlier, 21-to-1 students to faculty. As you get further into your major, your classes will get smaller and smaller. You know, one of my classes, I have less than 21 people in there, maybe like 15. So once you get further into your major, you know, you're more specialized. You'll see some of the same professors over and over again, the same people in your classes over and over again. So you can really expect to see that, you know, you and your TAs, you can become a TA yourself, a teacher's assistant, and help out with the classes that you've previously done well in. So some really great opportunities in just any colleges that are a part of the University of Houston.
Awesome. And yeah, that's always the end result, right? So that's always the goal, is to get that job as soon as you graduate. And in David's case, he's got it a little bit earlier, right? So we're really excited. So this next slide we're talking a little bit about is kind of just a student profile. This is kind of really important to a lot of parents and students. I know it's really important to me as a first generation college student, coming into that college environment and kind of not really knowing what to expect, I guess, being a first gen college student. So this kind of shows you a quick stat. It's kind of a snapshot of our student, our freshman class last year. So average SAT was about 1218. But this stat here, you see 43.8% first generation college student. Again, that kind of just shows you the profile of the student for that past freshman class. Our 4-year graduation rate, this is a great opportunity to kind of talk about that as well. So when you're looking at our 4-year graduation rate, it's actually above the national average, which is always great for our students, because what that means is when students decide to choose the University of Houston and they attend, that they're actually staying long term with us. So they're making that commitment and actually staying their entire time, which is great. Our enrollment numbers last year were about 5,201 students for that fall 2018 freshman class. So usually we'll have a little bit of an increase each year, but that's typical in the amount of our student freshman population enrollment. Okay, so here we're talking about the diversity of the university itself. So again, I talked a little bit on that first slide about the university kind of mirroring the city of Houston in regards to that diversity. So when you talk about the diversity on our campus, second most diverse public university in the U.S., you see students come from 46 different states and 130 different countries. So you're literally getting students from all over the world that are coming to the University of Houston to study, which makes it a very unique um, learning opportunity for our students, right? So you're getting that classroom and you're meeting students from all over the world as well. We also have 100 plus multicultural organizations, which is going to be great for those students that are coming from various different backgrounds and kind of helping them kind of get plugged in on campus through these various multicultural organizations. And then a quick stat there, 45 plus languages are spoken on our campus as well by our students. So again, you're not just getting students from different states, you're getting students from all over the world to the university as well.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite parts about the University of Houston is the diversity that's offered on campus. So total transparency, when I was a recently graduating high school student, like looking at what college I wanted to go to, I wasn't really considering diversity into like my college search process. I was more into like the academics, whether the university offered the same major that I was interested in. I wanted to know how far away I could get from my parents. Like that's kind of how the like mindset that I was in. But then I came to UH, started taking classes. I realized just how important diversity was just to make me a better human, a more marketable candidate for jobs and internships. But then it also just really changed my definition of what diversity is in general. And diversity is now one of the biggest reasons why I stayed at UH and why I'm in love with this campus and this community so much. So for me, diversity expands so much further than just like what country you're from or the color of your skin or the language that you speak. It also now goes into your political status, your socioeconomic status, your religious beliefs, your moral thoughts. It's also your age. So for me, my freshman year, I took a English class and I had like 18, 19-year-old students who were about the same age as me, but then I also had a war veteran in that class. He had just finished serving and he decided that he wanted to finish up his bachelor's. I had a single mom in that class who said she funded the education for 3 of her children, decided it was her turn. So even though all of us were reading the exact same books, everyone had different mindsets and like different like approaches to the text that we were reading just because of all the experiences that we had. And so I really, really enjoyed that class so much just because of how rich the thought and the conversations was going on. And like Chris was saying, this university is the second most diverse university, public university in the nation, but we also embrace that diversity. So we have cultural food organizations. So Cultural Food Week, we literally bring out food from all over the world, and for $1 you can go taste test food from around the world. We do cultural explosion nights. So I'm a dancer. I really love going to it. It's like a talent show where all of our dance teams from UH perform like different cultural dances from around the world. And it's super fun to watch and it's free. So there's just so many different events where you could go learn about other people's cultures and learn more about yours as well. And it's just a really fun community to be immersed in.
So this next slide, we're talking a little bit about student organizations. So I always tell students there's 2 parts to attending a large institution, right? The education part, which is going to be the most important, but then there's that social part as well. So you want to be one of those students that definitely tries to get involved. And here at the University of Houston, there's going to be a lot of opportunity to get involved in various different organizations. So you'll see here we have over 575 student organizations represented on our campus. 15 plus intercollegiate sports as well, which is going to be great for our students that are interested in going to those and attending those events, because any event on campus, a student will have access at no additional cost. 45 plus fraternities and sororities are going to also be represented on our main campus. So pretty big Greek life as well, as 15 campus ministries. And then housing on our campus as 9 residential life, housing options, and then 30 plus food trucks and restaurants. So I don't want to cover a whole lot of this. I kind of want to give um, David and Prerna an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit more about the student perspective. So I will let them take it from here on this slide.
Yeah, so Chris actually brought it up, like it's super important to get involved on campus as well. Most of us ambassadors, we recommend all incoming students to join about 2 student organizations whenever you first start out your career here at UH. So pick one that's related to your major/career of choice. We have so many different organizations that are very tailored to the the specific field that you might be going into. So yes, you might be interested in like medical school in general, but then we have organizations that are simply for like people who want to be like general physicians, or if you're interested in like cardiovascular surgery or like neuroscience, that type of thing. So there's like so many different fields that like you might be specializing, and so there are different organizations related to the major/career choice that you would be interested in. But then we also recommend students pick that second one that's purely like a hobby, not related to your like academic or professional goals at all. And that's just so you can have some fun. That's the easiest way to make friends here on campus as well. So like, for example, one of like our most active student organizations is our Super Smash Bros. Club. Students join together and they play video games for about 40 hours a week. Like there's a corral space set up for you to feed your video game addiction. So that's a really cool thing. If you are very passionate about the concrete that you walk on, we have a concrete appreciation club for you. So I am personally not a part of it, but I know that it's real. I'm not making it up, but students literally have a club where they can meet and they appreciate the concrete that we walk on, which is super exciting. But like, I'm part of the Psychology Association Club. I'm part of Pratham, which is a volunteering organization, part of like an Indian cultural organization, so I can learn more about my cultural roots and all of that. So there's just so many different things for you to take part of. And even if you're not a member of the organization, all orgs are super welcoming if you just show up to their events and all of that as well. So there's just so many different fun things for you to be involved on around campus that is always going to keep you busy in between or after your classes.
Yeah, and kind of going off of that, I should have known about the Super Smash Bros. Club. I've definitely should have looked into that my past few years. But I myself, I'm a part of the Accounting Society. So just like Prerna said, one that's really related to your major to kind of help you come in and get to know people in your major, to kind of socialize and network. Network is very important at a university. That's one of the main reasons why university is so important, to meet those recruiters to all these big and large companies that are in the greater Houston area. And then for kind of my little recreation, just for fun, to kind of hang out and have fun with people that I know. I'm a part of one of the ministries on campus. It's called Houston Hillel. It's a Jewish organization on campus. So I get to hang out with a lot more people that are with my ethnicity, with my religion, that I really do get along and enjoy. So find something that you relate to, and then something that you're that is a part of your major, just like Prerna said. It's very important. You get to meet people that that you either relate or that you may need to know going in the future, because you never know. I always say, get to know a CPA while you're in college, become friends with them so that you can get a really cool tax discount once you graduate.
Yeah, there you go. So great insight from both of our students there in regards to student organizations and just getting involved on campus. It's a really great opportunity, again, for our students just to kind of take part in that and join in on all that the university has to offer, because that's a big part of that college experience. So here we're going to be talking about some of the next steps. So it's really important stuff here. One thing that I do want to kind of encourage you to do is just make sure you have access to your MyUH account. If you have not already tried to access that, you definitely want to do that as soon as possible, just because this is going to provide a lot of important updates for our students. So a lot of what we're going to be talking about within the next couple slides is just going to be a lot of really good information that's going to be accessed through your MyUH account. So once you log into your MyUH account, you want to check your to-do list items. If there are any to-do list items, you can actually click on each individual item, and it will give you details on like what you need to do for a checklist. So if there is a orientation hold, or if there is a hold for math placement test, which we'll talk a little bit about a little bit later. You would want to click those, and it'll give you more information on how to complete that before your orientation date. Those are going to be really important to have complete, because you want to make sure you have all those cleared up, because those can eventually have those can prevent you from enrolling in courses, or have a little bit of a delay in enrolling in courses. So you just want to make sure you have access to that and you're consistently checking that from a time-to-time basis. Financial aid will be accepted through your MyUH account as well. So you would want to check that if you have not already accepted that award. You would want to go in and do that from your side as well. And then signing up for new student orientation is going to be online through your MyUH account. So again, all these checklist items that we're talking about will continue to be through your MyUH account. You'll look at number 5 there, housing and transportation. So when you sign up for your housing, you're going to start that through your MyUH account, and then again, your transportation. So when you're signing up for whatever parking permit you want to have for the upcoming fall, you will have to make that selection through your MyUH account. So again, we just want to make sure and make sure that you're aware that you want to have access to that account.
Yeah, and to kind of go off of that, if you do have any issues on the side on the CougarNet for the myuh.edu, if you do have any issues, there's a little box that has a phone number or email, or if you just to talk to IT, because they kind of figure out the issues. It's their system. They'll help you out with any problems that you have. And also, there are 2 main things that you need to know. When you first when you first applied to the University of Houston, you got 2 things. You got a CougarNet ID, and then you also got a PeopleSoft ID. Now, those are 2 different things, and they're used for, different things. So for myuh.edu, you will log in with your CougarNet ID, which is the letters, and then password, and that's how you get in, and that's where you have all of your information that you need. At this point, just memorize those 2 things, because you're going to need them a lot. And for PeopleSoft ID, which is a bunch of numbers, is again just like an ID. Again, memorize that. You will need that for basically everything when you come to the University of Houston. You'll either be asked, well, most of the time you'll be asked for your PeopleSoft ID, but when logging in for a lot of things, a lot of it will be CougarNet. So might as well either write it down or memorize it at that point, because it'll be very important for you throughout the entire University of Houston experience.
Fun fact, actually, so the PeopleSoft ID is written on the back of your Cougar card. So as long as you keep your Cougar card on you at all times, if you are very forgetful with like numbers and all of that, it's going to be right there, which is one of the reasons why we tell students to carry their Cougar card with them at all times, because it's like the easiest way for you to like have your PeopleSoft ID with you at all times.
So next, we're going to talk a little bit about the bacterial meningitis compliance. So how that's done is any immunization, well, basically your bacterial meningitis is going to be needed to be complete prior to attending orientation. So what this is going to do is you'll have a hold on your account that will say bacterial and meningitis. From there, you can actually upload proof that you have that completed, and that'll eventually be removed from your to-do list through your MyUH account. So the most important thing is just make sure you try to get that done as soon as possible. You want to have that done definitely prior to orientation, because that, again, can prevent you from enrolling in specific classes or enrolling in classes in general. So just make sure you have that done. And if you have any additional questions, you could always refer to uh.edu uh.edu/immunization for additional information on that. So we're talking about submitting documentation as well. Our final transcript, what we talk about here is just having students submit those final high school transcript, or those final transcript if you're going to be a transfer student. So I know one question I get a lot from students personally will be during the spring semester, like, hey, I have this hold on my account and I won't be able to sign up for classes, and it's because the student did not submit their final high school transcript. So we have to have that final high school transcript with your graduation date listed on it, and that will prevent you from eventually enrolling in courses for the spring. So it's going to be necessary to have that submitted to us. So the sooner you can get that to us and get that out of the way, you won't have to worry about that for the upcoming semester in the spring. So any of those updated transcripts for transfer students as well, if you're going to be submitting updated coursework that you had at another institution, submit that into us as soon as you get those final grades, so that we can give you credit for those classes that you have completed.
And And also for just kind of mention to transfers, because I transferred from Lone Star Community College. It's pretty simple. All you have to do when you apply is just send in your final transcript. If you are still taking classes at a community college, go ahead and submit your transcript anyway, a part of your application. And then once the grades are posted on your new transcript at the end of the semester, submit an updated transcript, just so that you get your you get credit for those classes that you took during that semester. And when you're submitting it, of course, send it to the correct campus. There's different universities of Houston. Just to let you know, I had an issue with that. I sent it to the University of Houston downtown. We are not downtown, so just be sure to send it to the right one, because if you don't, you're gonna have to send another one to the correct campus.
Yeah, that's definitely important. When we talk about that. Just making sure that you select the University of Houston, because there is sometimes some confusion since we do have multiple different campuses throughout the city. So just make sure you're submitting to the correct campus when you do submit those transcripts over to us. So for AP credit, IB credit, or dual credit, for those students that are going to be submitting any one of those credits, you do want to send those through various different forms here. So for AP credit, you'll log into your College Board account and submit the request to have those scores sent over to the University of Houston. Each test will have a specific score that you need. You could always check with our testing services website and see what specific score you're going to need in order to receive that credit for AP. For IB credit, you'll send those scores and official IB transcript in. We'll have that UH code listed there. So if you have any additional questions, again, just reach out to our testing services. And then our dual credit. So for students that are coming in with dual credit, just send those official transcripts from the affiliated institution. So if you were attending a high school and you had coursework from Houston Community College or San Jacinto College, for instance, you'll send in that official transcript from that institution to the university so that we can give you credit for those courses that you completed as dual credit. One question we do get a lot of times from incoming freshmen is going to be, if I graduate with an associate's degree, am I considered a transfer or a freshman? For review purposes, we are going to review you still as a freshman, but we will still refer to those credits. So you're still going to get credit for all those dual credit classes you completed. You just want to make sure, again, to send in that official transcript from wherever the coursework was affiliated with.
Yeah, and then one thing to mention real quick about like taking AP classes. So you can send as many as the tests that you took, that you can send all of those in to claim credit. But just know that the University of Houston, you will automatically get credit for all of the AP tests that you took, except for the ones that like pertain to your major. For that, you have to either your academic advisor or one of the other counselors will reach out to you and just ask you to come in and like sign the paperwork real quick. That's just because like for me, I was a psychology student on the pre-med track. So what they did was they were like, you technically got credit for like chemistry, biology, and psychology, but we would really like it if you wanted to take those classes here at UH, just to have like, make sure that you have a strong foundation and all of that. But I was like, no, I'm really confident in my skills in like psychology and biology, not chemistry. So I went ahead and like waived off on my psychology and biology credits so that those credits would still transfer in and I could take higher level psych courses. But I was like, I'm like really like iffy about chemistry, so I'll just take that class again at UH. So know that they're not going to force you to retake classes if it's related to your major. You just need to sit down and have a talk with your advisor, making sure that it's in the best interest for you, your career plan, and your GPA, because all of that still matters as well. So just because it doesn't pop up immediately doesn't mean that it won't. It just means that there might be an additional step or two for you to take to get that credit.
Yeah, and a little bit more on that dual credit. Again, like Chris said, just because you took a lot of dual credit courses, you cannot apply as a transfer student. You are still considered a freshman if you did, because it will say you have to have completed 15 or more credit hours after high school. So keep that in mind. Just because you took dual credit does not mean you're a transfer student. Also, just like I mentioned earlier with the transfer transcripts, same thing with dual credit. If you're still in high school and you're applying to the University of Houston and you already submitted your transcript because you took from your community college because you took some dual credit courses earlier, and you're still taking some more dual credit courses, Once the grades are posted by that community college, just send those that transcript to the University of Houston again, so that we can give you the credit for those classes. So again, you don't have to take those classes again. So definitely keep that in mind.
All right, so we're talking about residency. So for those students that are just actually going to be applying to the university from out of state or maybe from a different country, we do get the residency question a lot. There is a residency form and questionnaire that you can complete and submit to our university registrar. So they will be able to check that form, and they will make the final decision on your residency in regards to the cost of attendance, right? So that's a big deal for our students. So if you have any additional questions in regards to residency, just reach out to residency@uh.edu. It's pretty simple. But again, if you have any just additional questions for any of those residency costs or anything related to, we have questions sometimes from students that will refer to, well, I have a house in Houston, but I haven't lived there in X amount of months or years, or I've been in Houston for this amount of time. So if you have any of those questions that are kind of unsure about, just reach out to residency@uh.edu, and they'll be able to kind of guide you through that process as well. All right, so now we're talking about the cost of attendance. This is really important for specifically our students and parents. We get this question a lot. What's the cost going to be for my student attending the four-year institution? So when you look at the estimated tuition and fees, it's about $11,276. This is going to be based on one full year at the university, tuition and fees only, but it's also going to be based on 15 credit hours for the fall and the spring. Depending on how many credit hours a student takes, also the academic college that the student's going to be completing courses in will kind of change the cost there. Aside from that, you also want to take into consideration the cost of living on campus as well, as going to be an average of about $9,368, and then books and supplies we average at about $1,338. So the great thing is we don't require students to live on campus, so we give that option up to the student. So if you want to do that commute, that's going to be great. You're going to be saving money long term. But there are pros and cons to both. We'll talk about that on the next slide. One thing I did also want to mention in this slide is for our students that are coming in from out of state. If you do apply to the University of Houston and you earn at least $1,000 scholarship from the university academically, we will actually qualify you for in-state tuition costs. So you'll go from paying $26,936 to paying that $11,276 amount. So really big incentive for our students from out of state or anyone outside the state of Texas, essentially, because if you want to definitely lower that cost, you just want to try to get as much scholarship money as possible. But if you earn at least $1,000, you could qualify for that in-state tuition cost, which is going to be a great opportunity for our students there to save. Financial aid, so going back into the scholarship part of it, and then the financial aid as well. So with our financial aid, the priority deadline is typically January 15th for priority. So you want to submit all your documentation in early if you have, hopefully you've done it by now. But you'll have a student aid report created, and then you'll be able to view that through your MyOH account as well to see the amount of either grants or scholarships that you're going to be receiving from the University of Houston. Then you'll go in and accept them, kind of how we talked about a little bit earlier about managing that MyOH self-service account. But aside from that, I did already talk about the out-of-state tuition fee waiver. There are going to be a lot of different scholarship opportunities that are going to pop up for through academic colleges, and I'll go ahead and let Prerna kind of talk a little bit more about some of those scholarship opportunities.
Yeah, so I know that scholarships was one thing that I was really, really big on throughout my senior year of high school. So one thing that we love stressing to students is just apply, reach out to your community, see if there's any community organizations that are giving out scholarships. A lot of times it's like the places that you least expected that are offering scholarships. And one thing I like to say is like, don't discriminate against the scholarships. It's okay if it's only like $250 or $500. Like, great, like keep applying for like the big money as well, like the $5,000, $10,000 ones. But oftentimes a lot of students look like they don't really look at the $250, $500 ones. So it's really, really great to reach out and like apply for any and all scholarship, because even a little bit of money will go a long way, whether it be for like textbooks or anything like that. And one thing that I like to stress is that your scholarship search does not end once you become a student here. Just because you're like officially a Coug doesn't mean there's no more scholarships. In fact, our academic colleges offer a ton of scholarships for our current students. So every year, like fall and spring semester, they like send out like a plethora of emails of like, oh, here's a new scholarship, or here's a new grant that we're offering, and things like that, that you're more than welcome to like apply for, that you qualify for as well. So definitely keep a lookout for all of it, because there's so many different ways for you to be saving money and all of that as well.
Yeah, and so for the transfer students, because that kind of pertained to me a lot. I learned a lot on my own trying to figure that out. One thing that is really cool that we get, because a lot of the stuff is on us, we have to really look out for those all different kinds of scholarships available and apply to them. And it gets very tedious. But one thing that is really cool that I didn't notice until I first got admitted is that one scholarship that is awarded to you is based kind of off of your GPA when you're transferring in. Is as long as you have above a 3.0 GPA, you get an automatic $1,000 scholarship. It's a transfer scholarship excellence or excellence scholarship, and it's renewable. So what that means is that as long as your GPA is above a 3.0 each year at the University of Houston, you can reapply and get that same $1,000 every year. So it's definitely something to really look into and kind of remember. So when the year is ending, you have above a 3.0, apply for that scholarship so you can get it every semester.
All right, so here we're going to be talking about some of our opportunities for students during new student orientation. So this year we are doing an online format, so it's going to be a virtual orientation, which is a little bit different than previous years, obviously. So how that's going to be completed, the cost is going to be $60 for freshmen and transfer students. So once you sign up for that new student orientation, which will be done through your MyUH account, you'll have the option to select from a couple of different dates. Any available date will be listed on your MyUH account. So you'll select the date, make payment for that option. If you do not have the money for the payment at the time, you can actually request to have your fee deferred to your student bill. So that's going to be a great opportunity to still kind of lock in that specific date that you want. And new student orientation is going to be really important to sign up for one of those earlier dates, because you will actually sign up for classes at orientation or after orientation. So you want to go through one of those early orientation dates so that you have more flexibility in regards to the classes that you're going to be signing up for. So if you sign up for one of the later dates, you might not have as much flexibility in your schedule for the upcoming semester. So you just want to kind of take that into consideration when you're looking at different dates, and keeping that in mind as well. Academic advising. So again, this will be virtually this year. So what'll happen is once you complete your new student orientation online, you'll be able to receive an email with follow-up, which will have different academic advising dates scheduled. So you'll select from one of those dates, and then from there you'll meet virtually with your academic advisor. They'll talk to you a little bit about some of the courses you have completed previously, and then they'll help you sign up for some courses for the upcoming semester. And then it's a great opportunity to kind of just meet one-on-one with that academic advisor for the first time, because you'll be working with them throughout the remainder of your undergrad for sure. So it's definitely important to kind of connect with them at that point, and just learn, all the ins and outs of the advising part of it. Math placement. So this exam here, when you're talking about the math placement exam, it is not required for every student. If you are going to be needing to take the math placement exam, you'll actually have a hold on your account. So it'll say math placement. So if you do see the math placement listed there, you do want to actually sign up to complete that. So for the math placement exam, it's typically going to be for students that are going to be in engineering, the natural sciences and mathematics, or some of the technology majors are going to be required to take the math placement exam. So what you'll want to do is make sure you have that completed prior to orientation. Typically it's done 72 hours before orientation, so that you can sign up for the particular math course that you're going to be needing for that upcoming semester as well. So again, you just want to make sure that you complete that and have that done 72 hours before your orientation date. The TSI, very similar. If you have to take the TSI or you requested to take the TSI, you'll have a hold on your account and it'll specifically indicate which subject for the TSI you need to complete. If you do not have it listed, then you won't have to worry about that. There are also some exceptions for the TSI. So say you're listed to take the TSI math, but you took a dual credit college level math course in high school and you made an A in it, right? So take a look at those exemptions through our website. If you do meet one of those exemptions, you can email tsi@uh.edu. And they will work to have that hold removed from your account so that you don't have to take the TSI exam for any one of those subjects that you have listed on your account. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is UH&4. This is a great initiative that we started a while back to help students save money. And I want to let Prerna kind of talk a little bit more about this because she was part of the UH&4 program, or is a part of the UH&4 program, and she can kind of give you more insight as to how it's worked to her benefit here at the university.
Yeah, so the UH&4 program is actually something that I'm super grateful to be a part of, just because it is a retention program that we have here. So we want you to come to UH, we want you to stay, but we also want you to graduate in 4 years or less, so that you can go ahead and like make big adult moves and get a job afterwards and all of that. But so one thing that we know is that it can get a little difficult with like paying for tuition every year, especially considering some people are aware of this, some aren't, but like tuition rates go up little by little every year and it adds up after 4 years. So what we do is we fix your tuition rate to what you pay your incoming freshman year. And so it's going to be fixed to about 15 credit hours because that's how much you should be paying every semester for the next 4 years for you to graduate on time. So like that's how much you should be taking. But there are ways to like go around that with like summer classes, winter classes, and all of that. But for people like me who for some reason thought that it was super great to be taking 21 credit hours every semester and basically pushed yourself to like exhaustion, I was actually really grateful to be a part of UH&4 because while I was taking 21 classes, I was only paying for 21 hours, I was only paying for 15 of those hours, meaning I was getting about 3 to 4 classes free every year. So it's a great program to be a part of, but then also see, like this year came around, I was like, you know what, I really don't feel like ending out my last year here at UH with 21 hours. So I went ahead, flipped that number, and I started taking 12 hours instead. So instead of paying for more than what I was like signed up for, I just opted out of the fixed tuition rate. There's no fines or penalties or anything like that. I just opted out of paying for that UH&4 program thing, and I just went in and started paying this year's tuition rate. So it's a really great program to be a part of. There's so many other perks that come with it. They talk more about it at orientation and all of that, but it's definitely something for you to keep in mind of if you're trying to like block out how much you want to be putting aside for college tuition for 4 years. It's a great program to look into.
So when we talk about student residential life, again, we don't require students to live on campus, but we have a lot of different housing options for students to select from. So again, I'll let the student perspective take hold here and give a little bit more insight on to the residential life and what the experience is like being a student living on campus.
Yeah, so I know that Chris already mentioned this before, where it was that you don't have to live on campus your like freshman year here or like at any time, but it's something that I personally recommend all students to do. Your like first year here, live on campus. It's the best way to get immersed in our community life that we have. You can like attend all these events that we have when you're living on campus. I personally lived in Cougar Village 1, so my RA hosted like a ton of events for me to get to know my roommates and my neighbors. And it was a really great way for me to just bond and make friends. Like what better way to make friends than with the people who you live like 3 feet away from. So it's super great that way. And after that, after Cougar Village 1, I went ahead and like I rented or leased out one of the apartments that we have on campus as well. So Cambridge Oaks, that's where I lived for the past 2 years. It's a really great experience to be a part of. I super recommend all students to live on campus. We have so many food that comes with it. So there are 30 different restaurants and food trucks on campus. And I swear to y'all, like, food is the reason why I love this campus so much. Like, there's so many different perks that come with it, but like, we have so many great restaurants, and it expands further than just like fast food. So like, we have our Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Panda Express, and all of that, but we also have like a barbecue restaurant, a sushi restaurant. We have an Indian food place. We got Pizza Hut. We have Smoothie King, Starbucks, all of these different like restaurants. We have like Delicious, our own boba place, a dumpling place just opened up. So you are always going to be eating really, really well. Our food trucks outside these residential halls are there till about 2 in the morning. So literally you should never go hungry on campus, which is why freshman 15 is more like freshman 30. It's so much food and it's so great as well. Moody Dinings, which is one of our dining halls, it's buffet style and it's open 24/7. So again, there's just so many different options for you to explore. And I just think it's really great if you live on campus for you to get immersed in that community. And it's really great. If you're in honors college, the top 3 floors of Cougar Village 1 are designated for our honors kids. So your rooms are exactly the same as everyone else, but like, it's just an honors community living. So that's where I lived. I made all of my best friends living on campus. They're actually the people that I live with now as well. So it's a really great way for you to just get to know people, find out what your place is, what your group of people and your support system is by living on campus.
Yeah, definitely. And then also just to kind of top that off as well, when you're looking at the commute time, right? It's depending on where you're commuting from. You want to take that into consideration, as well as parking on any college campus, typically during normal business hours is always going to be kind of difficult. So you always want to keep that into consideration when you're kind of debating on whether you want to be a student living on campus or doing the commuter route. So again, here we're going to be talking about the housing process, and I will throw it back to Prerna here because she was a student that kind of went through this, but she'll talk a little bit about how that process works.
Yeah, so it's actually a really easy process. I thought it was going to be the most complicated thing when I was applying for it, but honestly, if you go to your Access UH account, there's a little housing portal and it's literally in the shape of a house, so y'all can't miss it. You just click on it, you pick the place that you want to see. So if y'all are looking as to what the different options are on the UH website, there's different virtual tours that you can take of the housing departments. Our office itself, the Student Ambassador Program, we're offering housing tours as well on Mondays. So if y'all are interested, you can check that out as well, just to kind of see what the different options you have. But when you figure out what residential hall you do want to live in, you just click on it. You can pay your application fee. So there are also stipulations that come with it. So if you book your room before April, or if you want to cancel your payment before April 1st, you get a full refund. After that, there's sections that the refunds might get smaller and smaller, but you have that option as well. And then you just sign an agreement saying, yes, this is where I want to live. This is the place. I will move in on this day. I'll follow all the rules, that type of thing. And then you have to find a roommate. So I like to think of the finding a roommate process as kind of like a spectrum. So on one end, you can know exactly who you want to live with. They are your high school best friend, childhood best friend, someone that you know this is the person you want to live with. Or you could be on the opposite end of the spectrum where you're nah, fam, I just want to be totally surprised when I move in. I want the traditional college experience type of thing. If you fall on that side of the spectrum, you are a lot braver than I was. I was really particular of what type of roommate I wanted. So we've kind of come up with a little balance in the middle where you want to know who you're living with, but you just don't know who. So we have this app called RoomSync. It's kind of like eHarmony and Tinder combined, but it's for roommates. So you set up your roommate profile. You talk about what type of roommate you are. Are you a night owl or an early morning person? Or do you like visitors? Do you like overnight guests? That type of thing. You set up your profile. I like to give a tip. Have your mom or dad sit next to you when you fill out this profile, because they'll tell you exactly how clean/messy you are. And they'll be able to tell you exactly what type of roommate you're going to be. But after you figure out, you fill out that profile, what the app does is it'll match you with people. They'll be you are 96% compatible with this roommate, or you're 43% compatible with this roommate. And you'll get to see their profile as well. If you like them, swipe right. If you don't, swipe left. And then when 2 roommates swipe right on each other, congratulations, y'all matched. And then contact information gets exchanged. I personally like to recommend students take your like your match out on a date, get to know who they are. Just because your lifestyles match up doesn't mean personalities are going to. So just get to know who you're going to be living with. And then once both of y'all agree that you want a room together, you just go to your housing portal and you make sure to click on the same room number that you guys want to live in. So one tip for that as well, all of our residential halls have a north side and a south side. So when I was looking with my roommate, we both were like, oh, CB1 712. She picked south and I picked north, and we didn't realize it until like a couple days later when we were just happened to like go over our housing contract again. It's a really easy switch to make as well, so it's not that difficult, but just know that there's like different sides to the building as well. So you can choose your room that way, and then you're good to go essentially. On the housing website, they give a list of things that you should be bringing, things you should not be bringing, different like scenarios and all of that. And then you have residential advisors that are there for you. So they're there to walk you through everything when you do move in. They're like your really great transition guide for you. They're there to solve any roommate conflicts that might happen. People sign roommate agreements. So something as little as like what temperature the thermostat should be set to, and something as big as like, can we have overnight guests allowed? Like your RA sits down and makes sure that everything gets sorted out before y'all even like officially start living together. So within the first 2 weeks, they do all of that so that the rest of the year is just a smooth sail for you, and you're actually getting to know your roommates and being friends with them rather than like figuring out what type of lifestyle you want to be leading. So it's just a really great process that we have, and it's a really fun experience to live on campus itself. So again, I highly, highly recommend all students live on campus for at least 1 year.
All right. So next we're talking about the tuition bill here. So, I mean, it's pretty basic when you're talking about that bill being set up. So when you're selecting the number of courses you're going to be signing up for the semester, you'll enroll through those classes through your MyOH account. Then you'll receive your bill through your MyOH account as well. Payment for tuition can be made either through your MyOH account, or if you're old school and you want to go in person to the Welcome Center, you can do that as well with the cash or check. But we do have the opportunity to kind of make those payments all through your MyOH account. So as long as you have access to that, again, that's going to be the easiest way to kind of keep track of everything and get everything done online. If you need a payment plan, you can actually request to have that done as well. And I believe that's actually an option through your MyOH account as well. So you can either do that or check in with our student business services to get any additional information regarding the payment plan. For any additional questions, you can reach out to uh.edu/financial/payment, and that'll give you some updated information there about making those payments or creating a payment plan for your tuition. So for parking, I'm just going to go ahead and let David take this one here, so he can talk to you a little bit more about the parking and how to select your different parking permit as well.
Yeah, of course. So I'm a commuter, so I don't live on campus like Prerna does, but I do drive from. I live in the greater Houston area. Just like Krista mentioned earlier, you are not required to live on campus your first year if you do not want to. If you want to live on campus like Prerna, you're more than welcome to. But if you commute, you're going to have a parking pass, unless you can find a way taking the metro buses and anything like that. But when you are coming looking for a parking, kind of look at a map. We do have maps. If you go to the website uh.edu/parking, it'll show you all the different parking lots on campus, and then kind of look at your school schedule. Find out where all of your classes are and which buildings. So you can kind of find out where you would want to park. So I definitely recommend doing that first when you're looking into a parking pass. And then once you do get a parking pass, you sign up for one, you get it. The payment will be on your account. You could probably pay it with your tuition, all in the same go. But what usually happens is that a lot of people do want parking, and parking is limited. Is that sometimes you do have to wait in line to be able to put a parking or order a parking pass, so that because some parking lots are sold out pretty quickly. We are, slowly but surely turning all of the parking lots into parking garages, which there will be some price differences between the parking garages and the parking lots. So just be aware of that. I know previously we used to have kind of like a lottery system to where they would oversell on the parking spots. So because the University of Houston did not expect all students to be on campus in one day, they have recently changed that. So if you get a parking pass, you will have a parking spot. If you're in a parking lot, it will not be assigned, first come, first serve kind of thing, but there will be a parking spot. In the garages, you will have an assigned parking spot. So, always park in the same place, or you might get, you might get towed or something like that. So just be aware of that. Of course, as soon as you find out that you're coming to the University of Houston, get onto that parking spot if you're going to be commuting or driving around on campus. If you are going to be living on campus, you still need, and you want to have your car on campus, you're not required to. You do need a parking pass to leave your car on campus as well. The residential halls, the dorms, they do not have parking for students. So if you want to have your car on campus with you so you can leave at any time, you will need a parking pass for your car.
All right, and I actually do have the garage pass, so it is convenient for me since I'm frequently going off and on campus. So it is a very, very great convenience to have that garage parking pass. But again, it just depends on your budget, right? So if you have a car on campus, the different parking permits, you'll be able to determine which one best fits what you need to do. All right, so we're almost done here. This last slide, we're going to talk a little bit about how the university has kind of shaped the value that we receive from our students. So the value that the university holds from our students, right? So when you're looking at the university specifically, the average annual cost per year is about $13,028. When you look at the national average, that's well over 19,000. So just from an individual year, students are saving a little over $6,000 per year just on that first year average annual cost. Typical total debt is the amount of debt that a student will accrue over time. So even when you're looking long-term in that 4-year span, even long-term students are still saving a lot of money in regards to what the national average is for typical total debt. And then that last graph you're going to see on the right-hand side, you'll see that average salary after attending the University of Houston. So our national average for our alumni earning about $48,900 after they leave the University of Houston. The national average for students that graduate with a 4-year degree is about $41,478. So what this is showing you to kind of sum it all up is you're actually paying less money to attend the University of Houston, which is a tier 1 research university. But then when you leave the university, you're actually earning more money than the national average. So when we talk about value, that's kind of what we're talking about specifically here. The Princeton Review, Forbes Magazine, and U.S. News and World Report have all recognized the University of Houston in this specific regard. So when you talk about value, we're definitely one of those colleges that's going to be saving students money long term, but still being kind of that bang for your buck, right?
Yeah, and then just putting it in perspective as to like how these numbers add up. Like for me personally, 60% of our alumni that graduate from UH stay in Houston when they're looking for jobs and when they're like doing their jobs. Meaning when you are going and you're like applying for jobs, interviewing, and all of that, there's a very strong chance that you've already networked with these people before because they've come out to our career fairs because they're probably in they're like upperclassmen that you've like friends with through organizations, or your TA has recommended, or your professor has recommended. So there's so many networking opportunities. So as long as you, during your stay here at the University of Houston, utilize your resources that are offered to you, because there's so many. There's literally it's a great way for you to, like, as David said, go above that national average for you to like have a higher starting salary. So there's just so many different resources that way. And you're also in the city of Houston. We have the largest medical center, we have the largest energy capital, great oil and gas industry, so many different Fortune 500 companies. So there's just so many things that are going for Houston, and UH is keeping up with all of these rapid changes and advancements that are happening in the city of Houston, that all of these companies nowadays are noticing that, and they're taking into knowledge as to how the University of Houston is also offering a really great education for students as well. So it's just definitely something to keep in mind of you don't want to be going into total, like, you don't want to be spending way too much money and going into a severe amount of debt down the line. That's going to really affect you as well. So save up your money right now and then make use of all the resources that we have offered on campus as well as off in the city of Houston itself.
Yeah, so that pretty much sums up our admitted student presentation there. Hopefully you've learned quite a bit from this presentation. We thank you for taking the time to tune in and learn from us and get our student perspective from our student ambassadors as well. We are available on social media, so you'll see the links below. So definitely follow us if you want to continue to learn and be a part of what the university does offer. It's a great kind of insight to kind of get that additional perspective, right? So from all those big events that we have throughout the year, we'll post throughout the year throughout that social media. So definitely take part in that so that we can continue to see you. And we look forward to seeing you the upcoming semester, fall, and being on our campus. Anything else you guys want to close out with?
Go Cougs!
Go
Yeah, go
Cougs!
Cougs. Have a good one.